Welcome back to Power by Her. I'm Tiffany Anton with the Biz Foundry, and today is season 2, episode 4, I think. It's hard to keep track of all these, but make sure you like this episode, subscribe so you can see new ones coming out. We come out every second and fourth Fridays of the month, so keep following and listening along. This month, we want to thank our very first Powered by Her podcast guest, CG England, for partnering with us. If you go into CG's boutique on 410 North Spring Street, for the month of February, you can get 15% off all jewelry items. So go get some jewelry. Today, we have Lindsay Pride. I'm so excited. The editor at the Herald-Citizen. First ever female editor at the Herald-Citizen.
That is correct.
Hi, Lindsay.
Yes, hello.
How long has the Herald-Citizen been around?
I was just looking that up because I knew you would ask me. 119 years.
119 years. Mm-hmm. And you're the first female.
That is right.
What, is it surreal?
It is. I mean, we do have such a long history in Cookeville, and I was looking back when I was talking to the county mayor for another show that we were doing, how long we've been here. I mean, 1904. So it's just kind of crazy because, you know, in the beginning, one of the first editorials that the Putnam County Herald ran was in favor of Cookeville being reincorporated.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see how the newspaper had a hand in the reformation of Cookeville.
Yeah. Well, I think it seems crazy that it's taken 119 years to have a female.
I know.
But I think that kind of shows still where we're at a little bit. As much as we think that women have come so far, I had a conversation with somebody the other day and they said, well, are women limited? And I was like, I think they are still somewhat, you know, they're somewhat limited of where women are in the leadership positions. Mm-hmm. So that's really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a newer title for you.
Yes, it is.
So are you from here?
I'm not. I grew up just down the road. I was born in Madison, and so I went to school.
Madison, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I've never heard
Yes.
of this.
So
okay.
it's in Davidson County. It's just basically a suburb of Nashville. Mm-hmm. But born in Madison, went to White House High School. Then came to Tennessee Tech, and I've now been here for about 25 years.
So you were one of those techies
that came and never left.
So when you were at Tech, were you going to go into were you in journalism? Was that your plan?
No. When I was in high school, the only thing because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and the only thing that I had done was I played piano since I was 6. So one of the potential careers for that was music therapy. And so Tennessee Tech was the only school at that time to have music therapy. And so that's what brought me to Cookeville. Of course, I got into a semester of music therapy and decided that there was no way I could do that. Yeah. And, but, you know, and music therapy is not even offered at Tech anymore. But after that, I took a survey at I believe it's the counseling center. And journalism was one of the top 3 things that came up for me. I'd always kept a journal. I'd always been a writer, but I didn't ever think about that being a career. So I took an intro to mass comm class and loved it and just got involved with everything that I could. I ended up becoming the managing editor of the Oracle, the student newspaper. And which is still there. Yeah. And I was the news director for the radio station, WTTU FM, and worked on the yearbook and worked in the public affairs office. So I tried to do just everything that I could on campus. And luckily it's a small enough campus and a small enough department where you have a lot of opportunity to do different things related to journalism.
Do you think as a kid, were you kind of the leader type that you like to be?
No.
In charge?
No, not at all. I wonder what people from high school think about this, because I'm just thinking they probably didn't see me this way. I didn't see myself this way.
Yeah.
But I think it's just caring about your job. Sometimes people notice that and how hard you work sometimes just will propel you forward to a management position.
Yeah. So when you left Tennessee Tech, what was your path after that?
So I was working at Fashion Bug all through college. So I worked there, and then I worked at a printing company here in town, and then a friend of mine.
Were you still kind of feeling like you were in media?
Yeah, I mean, we were doing like commercial type, business cards and flyers and things like that. And then a friend of mine worked at the Crossville Chronicle. And so she helped me get a job there. So I worked there for about 8 months. I was kind of like their living editor, and I covered the school board. And so that was, 8 months. And then I got recruited to work at the Herald-Citizen by one of the reporters there, Mary Jo Denton, who a lot of people know. She's worked there forever as the single crime reporter. And so she recruited me, and the editor at the time had been there for 30 years, or by the time he retired, he had been there for 30 years. But when I worked with him, I worked with him for probably 5 or 6 years before he retired. So he hired me and gave me my start back in 2002.
Wow. And have you been at the paper consecutively since?
No.
Took a little break.
I did take a little break, and I think it was good. I think it's good sometimes to get away from your career, even if you love it. It was good for me to get a different perspective. So I did teach for 3 years. I did Governor Bredesen's Teach Tennessee program, where he takes like mid-career professionals and kind of gives them a 2-week crash course in teaching, and then throws them loose into the classroom. So
I feel like that in this day and age would be horrible.
Yes. It was.
Teachers are, I have all respect for teachers right now. I have a teaching background, but it's crazy right now.
It is. So it was definitely one of those things where, teachers, when they're student teaching or they're getting ready to teach, they have like a unit plan they have to do and all of these lesson plans they have to do. Well, I had to do all of that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it was a good experience, and I'm glad that I did it, but it was very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got kind of a different perspective, and you got, I'm sure you were able to take some of those skills back into the workforce.
Yeah, I think it does help me. It helps me, with training new people that I'm hiring. I just called somebody to hire them today. So I'm already thinking like, what do I need to do? How do I need to help this person be successful here? So talk
about that, the leadership position as the woman in charge, it's not the man in charge, you're the woman. But there's so much more that you're doing now than just the journalism aspect.
Right. Yeah. That is the biggest challenge for me, because, when I was promoted in 2017 to managing editor, I didn't have any management experience. So it was kind of one of those things where my publisher just took a leap of faith in me, and the first thing I had to do was hire somebody to replace myself, from where I was a reporter. So that was one of the first challenges I had. And, we brought in 5 people to interview, and, I had some of the other leaders in the newsroom kind of help me and, let them see, we all kind of discussed it together. I was kind of afraid to make that decision by myself, but, and there's, you just kind of learn as you go. You make some good decisions, and then you go back and you think, well, maybe I could have done this better or this better. So I've been a lot more conscious of that this time and trying to hire new people, I think.
Well, and I think hiring is one aspect of leadership that's tough, but then managing a team, that's something I've learned in my career path, is that's not just something natural. I think that you have to be intentional about how to bring out the best qualities in your team, how to serve them. I've said to my team, if you need something from me, and my job is to make sure you can do your job. So I need to make sure I get you what you need. And I think that I'm hoping that's a good leadership quality, is to, serve them and make sure that everything's cohesive. But that's not easy to know how to work a team.
It's not. It's definitely, you look back on, when you become in management, if you look back on the managers that you had and who was the best and who was not the best. And you kind of, that's what I've done, is tried to take the qualities of the people that I admired, the editor who hired me, my current publisher now, I really watch and see how they, handle very difficult situations, and try to do the best that I can.
Yeah. I think that is good to kind of see who you want to emulate. Sometimes I think, for myself, I feel like I haven't had that many jobs. I'm not super young, but I'm not super old either. But, I've only had 2 2 real career jobs. And so it's like, well, I haven't had that many people, but then I think you can look at other people in leadership positions, and see, even if they're not your own leader, like how are they managing their team? And I think that's something I love about the Powered by Herd community is I get to see what other people are doing in their businesses and in their career paths.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important. One thing I am trying to do is just reach out to more, female leaders in our community, and you always get something from somebody dealing with a difficult situation. So it's always good to try to find people that you admire and see what they're doing that you could perhaps steal from them and use in your own workplace.
Yeah. So has there been any time that you thought journalism is not for me? Let me get out of this. Because, and maybe that was when you taught for a little bit.
Yeah, that was one of the things that, this is kind of a stressful job. And at the time I was working at the paper, I was working every day and every night, so it didn't feel like there was any break.
And you have kids at home?
I didn't have kids then.
Okay,
so, but I had that in my mind. I was thinking, well, if I have kids, I'm never going to see them if I'm doing this job. And that was kind of my concern in the back of my head. So I thought, well, if I'm a teacher, I can help, young people become better writers, but then also maybe be off when my kids are off. But teaching is, you just have to be, I think there has to be something in you.
Yeah.
I don't think I was a bad teacher, but I don't think I don't think it was for me, so I think I did have success. I did, work with kids to help them, improve their scores in English and become better writers. And, a lot of times, I look back on the best writing teachers I had and the ones that didn't really give me any guidance, and then the ones that gave me very specific guidance, and I tried to emulate that. So I feel like, it was a good experience. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, no, I think that I think every kind of step you take brings you to where you are.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think teaching is being in the leadership position, leading these students. And I'm sure that's part of what has gotten you to where you're at today.
Yeah.
What do you think, who have you drawn on from mentorship wise, to kind of emulate?
Well, quite a few people actually. Back when I started at Tech, Hicks Stubblefield was one of my journalism professors, and he had been a reporter at the Knoxville News Sentinel, and so he had a lot of real life experience in working in a newspaper, and just hearing his stories and hearing just real life situations that he went through. He was a good mentor for me. Even in high school, I had an English teacher that was really good. We had a small class, and she was very specific in writing and explaining why we were doing what we were doing. And then even after that, while I was in college, Monica Greppin, who was like in charge of public relations at Tech, and Laura Clemens, who also worked in public relations, they really helped me a lot. Karen Likens, who's now in charge of communications at Tech, she helped me a lot when I was a student. So
isn't it cool?
Yeah.
I mean, college was probably around 20-ish years ago for you, that it's like you just these people roll off the tongue because they made such an impact on your life.
They really did. So and even now, I mean, my current publisher, I mean, he's very supportive. I mean, he is one of those people that I do try to emulate. He expects a lot, but he's also quick to reward employees, and that is definitely what I want to be in the kind of culture that you want to build when you want to keep employees for a long time.
Yeah. So when you got the promotion to managing editor, our audience is mainly female, and I think sometimes we as women find ourselves in a necessity situation. And so you were a single mom and being promoted to managing editor. Yeah. So was that scary to take on a bigger role like that? Did you feel like you had to? Were you like, how am I going to manage it all and juggle it all? I mean, yes. We as women, we feel like we have to not drop any of the juggling balls.
Yes. Yeah. The year that I was promoted was very kind of much a roller coaster year, because I was getting a divorce. I was becoming a single mom for the first time. And so that was all, very new and different. But in August of that year, our, previous managing editor, she left. And, I saw things, that I wanted to do, that I wanted the Herald-Citizen to be, and things that I thought should be different. And I just asked Jack for the chance, like, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Will you consider me? So he interviewed me. He interviewed several other people too, and so I was very excited that he had enough faith in me to pick me for the job.
Well, and I personally feel like when I get real energized from my job,
Mm-hmm.
and I think when I have that to pour some energy into, I'm kind of better overall all around.
Mm-hmm.
When you're being successful in your career, I think I find myself to be a better mom.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it kind of works both ways. I think being a mom makes me better at my job, and being good at my job makes me a better mom. It does definitely goes both ways. And I think that the kids appreciate hearing your stories. I grew up hearing my parents' stories from their work day. We would sit around the dinner table, and they would tell about all the weird and crazy things that happened at their work. And so I try to give my kids that kind of, this is what happens. It's not just sitting at a desk all day. It's, so I think it's neat for kids they're getting that experience through their parents.
Yeah. And to think like, you're busting down some doors. I don't know if you realize that you've soaked that in yet, but that's really cool. Like, my mom was the first.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first woman doing that. And so they can kind of wear that as a badge of honor. And that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it is neat.
What do you see, where do you see your career going from here?
Gosh.
Did you ever, was this beyond your
No, this was not really on my radar. And I was just talking to the new chief operating officer at the hospital. And I was asking her the same kind of question, did you think that this was going to be your job? And she said, really, it was just a natural progression. And I kind of agree, as that's how it's been for me. I mean, I really cared about my job, and I care about the paper. I care about the future of the newspaper. I think newspapers are essential. And so just being, caring enough about it makes you want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not like, yes, one day I'm going to be the editor of, whatever. It just became the next step for me.
So do you think your heart is really in caring about the Herald-Citizen particularly, or caring about journalism in general?
Well, I think it's both. I think I've come to know this community so well because I've been here long enough that people know who I am. And I think when you build a reputation with other people, and they see that you are going to be, trustworthy, that you are going to write what they say and what they do, and you're going to represent them as accurately as you can. I think that, just having that name and face recognition with people that really helps. It's really hard to start new somewhere when you're doing any job, but especially this job, because you just have to know phone numbers. You have to know who to call when something's wrong, when there's a fire, when there's a car wreck, when there's a city council meeting. There, you have to know who to go to for information. And so it is, I guess it's both. It's about caring about journalism, but also caring that, we're informing the people in Cookeville of what's happening.
Yeah. And I think I love that about that it is so small that, when I was working with the city of Allgood to help them pass their liquor referendum, I mean, everybody just knew it was like, just called Tiffany, and I love that it's, and people can, it's not like it's hard to figure out who people are or how to get in touch with people. And so I love that it's just that small town feel, but we have some bigger, we have a local TV station. We have our own paper. We have these things that make us still, amenities of a bigger city, I guess. So, and so you guys at the Herald-Citizen has just partnered with Cookeville Creative.
That's right.
And so that's a whole new world for you.
It is.
In journalism that you've never really experienced before. So what are your thoughts, feelings on this? Like, I'm sure you're a little terrified. We can be honest,
Yes, I think it is terrifying, but it's just like anything else. It's with COVID, and every business is having to reinvent itself, and newspapers are no different. We are doing more things. We launched more digital first back in July, and so as things are happening, we can put them on our website and people can see them instantly. We can share them on social media. We can send out an email blast to thousands of people so they know what is happening as it's happening. So I think that that has become, really important for us. The video part is just kind of also just kind of a next step. A lot of newspapers are doing video. Bigger newspapers have been doing video for a while, the New York Times and, so they've all been doing, some sort of video. So it's kind of one of those things where you just got to do it.
Yeah. So are you excited in the fact that like you kind of this is your step to keep up with the Joneses a little bit of, we're going to do the same thing that the big cities are doing.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely am interested in seeing, the first, what does it look like? And then how can we make it better? Because I've seen the good and I've seen the bad that other publications have done. So I definitely want us to develop something that we can be proud of. So that in itself is just really important to me, making sure that we are doing something that's quality.
Well, and I think that's a huge leadership character. Get back to the leadership thing. The pride that you put into every aspect of what you do. I mean, maybe it's why you have that fancy last name. That's pretty awesome. But it is important that even though you're going to pivot a bit and try this new thing, you feel driven to make it good and we're not just going to do it to do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're gonna put the effort into it. What advice would you have for people who feel a need to lead, but they just don't know they have this drive, but they just don't know where to put their energy?
So people who want to lead, but they're not sure what to do. I think you become a leader by being, trying to be your best self, trying to be what other people would look up to. I don't ask anybody to do anything that I either haven't done or wouldn't do myself, So I think that's important. I think people respect you a lot more when you're willing to do the work and you're not just sitting in an office telling everybody else what to do. So I think that helps create, respect between, and a boss and an employer or employee.
Well, and I think trying to pull out other like an employee's leadership qualities kind of and make them feel like you're investing into them too is pretty important along the way.
Yeah.
So, so you think you're gonna stay and cook? You're kind of found your place.
I definitely have.
I love you. There's this like peace and happiness, and I love that you're. I mean, we've known each other for a while, and I just love to see how comfortable you are in where you're at.
I have become pretty comfortable somehow. I didn't imagine it would be this way, but I'm happy that
I like that
you're.
I mean, for me, I'm like, oh, people from high school, they would be like, yeah, that's her. She's the talker. She's like, I don't think anybody is surprised, but you are a bit more reserved, and you're just a little bit more maybe introverted, and so I think it's good to see kind of you flourish.
Thank you.
So if people want to subscribe to the Herald-Citizen, how can they do that?
Well, they can call us during 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 526-9715. They can always go to our website and click on the subscribe button at the top of our webpage, herald-citizen.com.
And there's multiple different options.
Yes.
Some of the options are you can get a paper delivered,
yes.
a hard copy. You can do your online subscription.
And you can even do it for a day. I mean, that's, sometimes people will come here or they'll be interested in one thing, somebody.
They really want to know.
Yeah, they want to know about one thing. A lot of times, if there's a car wreck or an obituary, somebody just wants to know one thing. Maybe they don't live here, but, so I offer that option to everybody. I mean, we do provide a service. A lot of times that's a complaint we hear when we circulate our stories on social media is why do I have to pay to read this? But we're providing a service. We are still a business, and we believe that information is valuable.
You're a business, and that's what I think is the biggest thing that people need to remember. As much as it seems like, well, you should just tell me my information. I can turn on the TV and I can get my information there. But it is a business, and so there needs to be some sort of way to run the business.
That's right.
So people can subscribe, find out the information there. How can people get in touch with you personally?
They can call me at 526-9715. They can email me. Lindsay.Pride at Herald-Citizen.com or editor at Herald-Citizen.com. So.
That feels pretty good to
Yeah,
have that
so-
email address, right?
So yes, so I mean, there's plenty of ways to get in touch with me. I try to respond to most messages if I can. If people tell me why they're calling and what it is that they're interested in.
Well,
So.
and I do want to. I mean, back in the day where you were, sent out to you supported a lot of the nonprofits that I had a big heart for along the way. You've always been. Actually, in this building, when it was the Children's Museum, coming and taking pictures of new exhibits, and you're always very supportive of this community and what's going on. And I love that you get to have taken that as you've moved up the chain there, and so that's great to see such a supportive role for you.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate you being here, and congratulations, first female editor at the Herald-Citizen. It only took 119 years. Hopefully it doesn't take 119 years to have another female there. I think that you're kind of paving the way, and I like to see that. So,
all right, thank
thanks,
you.
Lindsay.